Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel for the first time in a very long time. I've been meaning to film for a while now, and between the pandemic and progressing through my degree, I've kind of struggled to find time and the right place to film my videos. But hopefully the next few months will allow me to be more consistent with filming videos and just being more present with you here on my channel, especially because so many of you have been so lovely and asked me multiple times to come back and to keep sharing some of my education related content with you, because I know that for a lot of people, YouTube and the internet are really the only source of education related content and materials that you have. So I'm really happy to be able to come back and hopefully share with you some valuable content and tips related to college applications, college life, and education in general. Having said that, today I'm here to talk about one of my most requested topics ever on this channel, which is financial aid. So financial aid is a really complicated topic, especially in the United States, where the cost of attendance for higher education is extremely high. And my personal opinion is that college should be high quality and free, but unfortunately that is not the case in the United States. But having said that, there are some ways to navigate the extremely complex system of financial aid in the United States and to find ways to make college affordable or at least less expensive for you. My own experience with financial aid and United States colleges is that I applied to colleges as a non-resident, non-citizen. I did not qualify for any kind of federal aid, only for private scholarships through my institution and through some organizations that provide scholarships to international students. I didn't apply to any of these external scholarships because if you've seen some of my videos about my college application journey, I applied to college in the US quite late. So a lot of the deadlines had already passed. However, I did apply to be considered for financial aid at my educational institution, which is New York University, and that is the university that I attend currently. FAFSA specifically provides a combination of financial and merit-based aid. In my case, I was very fortunate to receive a scholarship that covers approximately half of my tuition at NYU. Moving on, as I've already mentioned, there are several ways to finance your education. This video is going to specifically talk about financing your education in the United States because that is the system that I'm most knowledgeable about and that I have personal experience with. I know that in a lot of other countries you can request bank loans or loans from your government or some kind of stipends, as in the UK. If you're in a country other than the US, I would talk to someone at your school if that's a resource that is available to you. Talk to people who are currently enrolled in university in your country. So firstly, I wanted to talk about who is eligible for financial aid. Honestly, this varies a lot depending on the institution. Something that will vary a lot between institutions is whether they are need blind or need aware. So some institutions are what is commonly called need blind, which means that they'll accept you regardless of your financial status, while some universities and colleges are need aware, which means that if you require a certain level of aid and they are not able to provide it, they won't give you admission. Just something related to the financial aspect of attending college that is useful to know when you're applying to these universities. If you're in the process currently, I would just do a quick Google search to see if the colleges that you're interested are need blind or need aware, and whether that makes them a good fit or not for your particular economic situation. Another crucial aspect of the financial aid process is actually applying for financial aid. If you are a US citizen and you want to be considered for financial aid, you will have to fill out FAFSA. The step for applying for financial aid varies by institutions, but most will ask you to fill out what is called the CSS profile. This is what NYU requires to be considered for financial aid. These two are the most important forms in the financial aid process, and I will link both the FAFSA and the CSS profile in the description below. First kind of financial aid that I want to talk about are scholarships. These are one of the most common forms of financial aid. A lot of nonprofits and private organizations will offer these kind of financial aid for students to pay for college or for their career school. is essentially free money, which is given to students based on their financial need, level of academic merit, or talent. Scholarships can be particularly helpful when paying for your tuition. Scholarships vary in their amount and their requirements. Some schools, for example, give athletic scholarships, so you need to have played a sport in high school to be considered for these. Different schools will have different requirements for these athletic scholarships depending on, for example, whether they're a Division 1 or Division 2 or Division 3 school. Some schools will give you scholarships based on your past academic performance or on your financial need. Some colleges devote a very large amount of funds to scholarships based on financial need, and some universities do not. So again, this is something that I would investigate while you're applying or before you apply ideally. Some institutions are able to meet their students' financial needs, especially those with a very large endowment, but smaller colleges might be less able to meet their students' financial needs. A lot of nonprofit organizations may also offer scholarships to students who are eligible, and also some private corporations offer scholarships as well. Again, the qualifications for these scholarships may vary a lot depending on your academic abilities or your specific area of study. For example, some companies might give you a scholarship condition on the condition that you later go and work for them in, for example, engineering or a specific field. My own experience with financial aid is limited to scholarships, which have been provided to me through NYU, and the only thing I had to do to be considered for these scholarships and to renew them was fill out the CSS profile, because I am an international student. But I would find out with your specific university what the process is for being considered for scholarships, because you might have extra applications or essays that you need to submit, but for NYU specifically, it was just the CSS profile. Another form of financial aid is a grant. A grant is a form of financial aid that doesn't need to be repaid unless, for example, you do not complete your course of study. In the US, there are several federal grants available, such as the Pell Grant and the Teach Grant. A different kind of financial aid comes in the work of federal work study. These funds help offset the cost of college for students. To be considered for federal work study, you will have to fill out the FAFSA, so unfortunately this is limited to residents or citizens. You will also need to demonstrate financial need and find a job on campus or sometimes off campus. These funds are on a first come first serve basis, so it is recommended to apply early. The federal work study is earned through work performed and is credited in the form of a paycheck. Hours on federal work study are limited by the amount set by your specific program, and you do earn at least the federal minimum wage. Another thing to be considered when you're looking at financial aid are loans. When you receive a student loan, you're essentially borrowing funds to attend college or a career school, and you do have to repay these loans, which often also collect interest. And before you apply for loans, it's really recommended to look at repayment options for these loans, so that once you graduate, you understand how you need to repay these loans. These private loans are often made to students by banks or some other kind of lender. You will usually need to have a co-signer, and there are many tools on the internet that you can use to compare different kind of loans and loan providers. A different kind of financial aid in the US comes in the form of federal aid programs. I previously mentioned some of the grant programs which qualify as federal aid, such as the Teach Grant and the Pell Grant, but you may also qualify for a federal loan program. In these programs, student loans are offered through the Department of Education, and they typically have low interest rates and generous repayment terms. Additionally, some states offer aid for education. These states offer assistance to their residents or to non-residents studying at a college in their state. Assistance can come in the forms of scholarships, grants, and or loans, and some of these require a specific application that needs to be filled out to be considered for assistance from the state. It's recommended to check with the financial aid office at your particular institution to see what state aid programs are available. So that is my brief overview of financial aid options in the US. If you like this video, please make sure to give it a like and to show some love in the comments. If you know anyone who could use this video, please send it along. And thank you all so much for being here. I'm really happy to be filming again and to hopefully be able to provide some more insights and some things that I've learned while actually being in college, because a lot of my content I started filming before I was even at NYU. And also make sure to open the description box, because I'm going to be filling that in with a lot of financial aid information and useful links and sites that you can use in your own financial aid process. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you in my next video.